My name's Eli Delaney, and I have the honor of meeting some pretty cool people. These are the entrepreneurs, the artists, the creatives, the game changers that are making a positive impact in the people that they meet. And I'm a firm believer that the people that you meet can get you anywhere you want to go. And this show is my way of sharing them with you. It's my way of also helping you meet cool people. All right, welcome back to another Meet Cool People, my friends. So today I have this wonderful lady. She and I have hung out in a lot of the same circles for many years, and then eventually actually got truly connected and hit it off immediately, partially because we both come from a design background. A lot of you know my first company was a web and graphic design agency. Um, and yeah, we hit it off. We geek out on some of the cool stuff. So this is Lori Lyons, and Lori isn't just a marketer, she's a digital strategist. She turns your website from pretty to powerful, ensuring that it attracts clients and boosts profits. She works with small business owners, coaches, and consultants, and she ensures their online presence delivers. With that said, Lori, welcome, and thanks for coming and hanging out today.
Hey, Eli, anytime I get to hang out with you, it's always cool.
It's always cool. It's
Yeah.
always fun. We have so much to talk about all the time. So let's go ahead and just start right out. Of course, I said your bio because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I want to know, how did you get started in this wonderful world of building websites and all that kind of stuff? Because I know it's an interesting journey to go through all that. So tell us how that got started.
Yeah, I'll give you the 30-second, 90-second version. And I didn't come into the website design digital world willingly. I came in desperately because I had closed my packaging business. I sold binders, folders, customized, to large Fortune 500, 100 companies. And then this thing called the internet came along, and they didn't want customized binders and folders. They put everything online. So I kind of had to shift my business in the early 2006 to 2008. So by 2010, I was looking for a job, and I was just, I mean, like a lot of other people in the country, I was like looking for a job. And I came across a digital marketing company, and they needed an account manager. And I'm like, sure, the boss and I hit it off and went to work for them. And I knew nothing. I knew how to turn on a computer, but this is a person that several years before I'd sold a computer because I didn't realize you needed to have software to actually make it run. So that's how non-technical I was. But over the course of the years, my marketing background came in, my strategy came in, was able to really work with some cool clients and help them build their website presence and actually put marketing strategy to it, which was something the company had not done before. And so about 3 years later, they had a kind of a switch in what they were going to do, and they decided they wanted to go totally technical. And I lost my job because I wasn't technical enough. But the cool thing was, what they didn't realize was this time I had been getting technical. I'd been asking questions. I had been YouTubing and Googling when I didn't know something. And I had learned a lot in those last 3 years. So I had somebody call me and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a website. I heard you worked for a company. Can you help me?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't work there anymore, but if you're interested, I will build you a website." It's one of those, oh gosh, what did I do moments, that why did I open my mouth moments, but it really worked out. And they're still a client to this day. In fact, we're rebuilding them another website as we speak. So it really kind of worked out, and I found my jam. And the other cool thing is I found people who work on my team who are better than me. So I can
Nice.
bring in the strategy and do all the fun stuff, and then they do all the technical stuff now.
That is awesome. And you said something that I think is really important, because I like to take the nuggets that are like, oh, by the way, did you listen to this part kind of stuff out of these stories? Um, you walked into it not knowing how to build websites or what that was even really like, but you took it on yourself to figure it out, even though that wasn't really your job.
Yeah.
And I think it's so funny, 'cause especially in today's world, so many people they're always looking for, well, that's too hard or that's too
Yeah.
complex or I just don't get it. And at the end of the day, the reality is you can learn anything. It's just a matter
Absolutely.
of whether you're willing to. And so
Absolutely.
kudos to you for the fact that you did that because
Thank you.
so many people today, it drives me nuts. Like, I don't get it. Just do it for me. Well, if you want to pay me for it, we could do that. But I ain't doing it for free because it ain't that hard.
Right, right. Right.
so,
Yeah, and it
so
was it was interesting because, we had a support ticket system, and I just found it was easier to just fix some simple stuff than to put it
mhm,
in the support system tickets or whatever,
right.
because that could take 2 or 3 days. And if
hmm
I
Yep.
learned how to fix, change a date or do something or change a price, everybody was happier. My team was happier, my client was happier, the boss was happier. So it
Right.
just made sense to, and then once I learned that, I was like, well, this isn't so hard. Let me keep going. And it just, that part of my brain, that technical part of my brain kind of came in and said, you could do this. So yeah.
hmm That is awesome. Now you said something else that I really want to bring to light before we move on here. You talked about like that first client that came in, and they're still a client of yours. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes.
Now, I have, again, you and I talked, I've come from a web design background. My first
Right.
company, I actually started back in 95, 96. It's one of those 2 years. And I still have some of those original clients now, even though I stopped building websites over 15 years ago.
Wow.
I bring that up because we're rare in that. Not a lot of people have clients that stick around that long. Talk on that for a minute. What is it that makes them stay with you and be loyal to you?
Um, the smart aleck in me says it's because they're too lazy to look around for somebody else, but
Yeah, well,
that could be. But
and
it's
there's definitely some validity to it, but
there
let's
is that.
let's
There is
go with
that.
the other side.
It's because of my superior technical knowledge. No, it's I think because I've known them for years. I've
Mhm.
treated them well. I've serviced them well. I've whenever I stay on top. I'm proactive and not reactive. I always get those
Mhm.
confused. But when they do ask for something where they do need something, then I'm very reactive to it as well. And they'll
Right.
come in with questions like, they're on a hosting system that I've been trying to get them off of for years and just can't seem to do that. That, you know, um, rhymes with mother. And whenever they send them their soliciting emails, they'll always send me an email and say, is this real? Is this fraud? Do we need to do this? And it's like, no, just ignore it. So, just stuff like that is just
Mhm.
little, it's those little tiny things sometimes that can make or break a relationship.
Yeah. And I mean, the things that you mentioned, they're not difficult things. They're like, oh, we're taking care of our clients,
Right.
which,
Right.
as sad as that is, it's a lot of people don't get that. They don't
No.
understand the power of that. It's just take care of your clients. Like,
Yeah.
right now we are recording this at the beginning of February,
Mhm.
and now I'm sure you've seen all the hubbub about the email deliverability, the sky is falling and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
And it's
absolutely.
hilarious. I'm actually going to be writing an article. So everybody will know when this goes live versus when this article comes out because of the fact that I'm writing an article and the title is See, I Told You So.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that's going on right now, stuff I've been teaching clients and telling them they needed to do for a decade
Right.
plus.
Right.
And like you're a client of mine, you've seen the way that I write my emails is a big piece of what's going into effect right now.
Yeah.
Not just the technical side, but also what kind of stuff you send to people. And it's like,
Right.
if you stay in front of people and you give them value and actually help them, they'll stick with you for life. And
Yes.
that's the key.
Yes.
That's the important thing.
Well, and it's
So,
and it's interesting because being not only am I a friend, but I'm a client.
mhm,
And, in going through your system and listening, looking at what you've done with the way you structure your program and your emails, I've now started going back through, and I haven't told you this. Started going back through some of my old programs and started rewriting the emails because,
nice.
I'm getting rid of the gifts. I'm getting rid of all the stuff. But there are systems that have been out there probably for 4 or 5 years that just
Mhm,
need some tender loving care every now and then that we forget about because they're
Yeah.
automatic. You don't think about it. And I'm still getting occasionally from podcast interviews that I've done 3 years ago. I'll get
Mhm.
someone to sign up for something and it's like, oh, I'd better fix that because, that was 3 years ago and I haven't looked at it in a while. And
Mhm.
we just
Yeah.
kind of sometimes we take it for granted.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
you're right on all the stuff.
yeah. Well, and the reason I even brought it up is like it's because like that's the stuff. I have a couple clients that are freaking out right now about it, and I'm like, don't worry about it. It's like
Right.
here's a couple of things you need to do from a technical standpoint, which 90% of it was already done because I
Mhm.
helped them set it up with their CRM.
Right.
And those that aren't, they should have their existing CRM company should have helped them with that.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that they haven't scares me, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is when you're that good at what you do and you are in this boat, that's why I'm saying this, is that people will stick with you. And it's great because you come from a place of ease of being able to like, oh yeah, you're covered, don't worry about it, I
Right.
got you.
Right.
And
Right.
that alone helps create that loyalty. And you've done an amazing job with that. And I wanted to
Well, thank
highlight
you.
that.
Thank you.
Very few people do.
Thank you. Well, and I also think it's important to be fully transparent. I am not an Eli Delaney. I don't come from a technical background. If you need for me to get in there and really go in and play with a server, I'm not your girl. And I will tell people, you don't want me coding on your website because that's not what my forte is. My forte is to put together puzzles and to make the design look great and to make it so that clients can find you and it will make you money. So your website's not just a pretty face, is what I say tell everybody. But if you tell clients, let me check that out for you because I'm not sure the answer. I think that goes far more than trying to blubber around it, knowing that they won't know what you're talking about and you sound like the expert if you say, it's this, 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 and this, other than, I'm not really sure. I've never been asked that question. Let me find out. And that goes a long, long way toward credibility.
That is awesome. I love that you said that because that is so true. It is so, so true. Um, so I want to ask a couple of things here. One of them I want to ask you is like when a client comes to you, where are they on their journey? Where are they at? And what's the specific thing that you really help them with
Yeah.
to understand how powerful your skill set is?
Right. Depending on where they are the journey, and I get clients from like just starting out with businesses because I've been in business long enough, people will refer them to me, to clients that are going from one plateau to another. And by that, I mean they could be just about to hit six figures or they're about to hit that 250 mark, which are both big plateaus in the cycle of a business. If you're a beginning business owner coming to me, I will talk you out of a website because that's the first thing everybody says. You got to have a website. You got to have a website. You got to have and I do this for a living. You don't need a full scale website right yet because you don't know what your business is going to do. You don't know how your business is going to morph and change. And as you start getting proof of concept and actually getting out and talking to people about what you're going to do and how you're going to serve them, then it's going to change. And you can drive yourself crazy trying to build a 5-page website when you don't need it yet. You probably don't even or are not even sure what your services are. So that's the first step is if a new business owner comes to me, we might put up a very simple one pager. Let's give you some authenticity. Let's show who you are. Let's show the problems that you solve and the solutions you provide for your clients. Give a contact form and that's it. Then when you've had some time to make sure your business is kind of settled, then let's come back and talk about a big girl website or a grown up website. The second thing is the second most popular kind of client that I have is, they've been doing really well. They're scaling and maybe they've got homemade marketing. Maybe they've got a homemade website, which I say homemade is only good in chocolate chip cookies, just saying. But once they get to that plateau, then they're going to need to show that they have the expertise. They're going to need to have a professional appearance, and that includes their website. So that's another plateau that we have. Or you're going to that 250 mark and you're going to need to even upscale it even further with really high quality photos and just really show who you are as a business owner and as a brand. So that's kind of, I mean, those are my three kind of favorite people to work with. And it's a big variety, I know. I have it like
Nice.
I don't quite. I've got 3 different niches.
Yeah. Well, and they
It's
still
okay.
boil down to one. It's okay. So,
Exactly.
so one of the other questions I have for you is what is what would you say is like one of the biggest mistakes people have with their websites? Because I know the answer to this because I've been around this world for a while. But what is it that you're finding when people come to you? What is other than like the brand newbies? We're not
Right.
talking about the newbies that don't even have a website yet,
Right.
but we're talking people who have a website. They may have even had it for a year or two. What's the number one mistake that you see people making on that, or the biggest thing that they should be fixing?
I think from an overall marketing standpoint, the biggest mistake that they're making is they're not taking their followers and their users from social media and bringing them off of social media and driving them to their website so they can capture their information and begin talking to them from an email standpoint, which is where your specialty lies, because they're leaving them out there to just to flounder in the social media wilderness without actually drawing them in. So all of our websites have a lead magnet on it so that they can give something to get something. And from a marketing standpoint, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. From a digital standpoint, from a website standpoint, not paying attention to your site, just letting it sit there and flounder. It's like buying a car and leaving it in the driveway with no gas. You need to change it. You need to fix it. You need to like update it, add a new testimonial, add a new frequently asked questions, change the content, because not only does that help drive your SEO, and because Google loves to see that you're changing and you're adding stuff to your website, it means that you're in business. So those are the 2 biggest from 2 different areas that I see and that we focus on, is to make sure that we're getting a lead magnet. As Amy Porterfield says, social media is rented real estate. So you want to bring them off of the rented real estate and into something that you own, and then make sure you're adjusting and changing and, updating your site as you need to. And that includes all the technical background stuff too.
Nice. I love it. And that is, I mean, yeah, you got to do it. You got to make sure that your website is updated from a technical standpoint because, we have hackers and all that kind of stupid crap. But that is one of the things that I think that a lot of times people are missing at the basics of updating on a regular basis.
Yes.
Simple things like update your bio if you change something there, adding those new testimonials. I'm
Right.
always harping on clients. You need to be getting testimonials all the time and keep
Right.
adding them on there. And I'll say I'm bad about adding them. I have them. They're all hiding on a Google folder. But
Yep.
that is one of the things. Those are the kind of things that are easy to do. They don't take much time. They don't cost much to do if you're not doing it. You're hiring somebody else to do it. Obviously, for everybody listening, I would say just hire Lori because she and her team can take care of it for you. But those are the kind of things that if you're gathering those testimonials, put them on your website. There's no
Right.
such thing as too many testimonials on a website. There really isn't.
No, no.
Um,
And one thing that we do with our clients is we started doing this. We used to not do this, but we started doing this recently. Is we give them a set of questions, or we work with them on a set of questions that they can then hand to their clients and say, fill this out. And it's stuff like, what is your biggest aha moment from working with Eli? What is your biggest what is the biggest change that you've made by working with Eli? And it gives them a very specific set of questions, not just working with Eli is great. Everybody should work with him. That's
yeah.
a lot less powerful than working with
Mhm.
Eli has really made me like take a look at my email systems, take a look at my emails and go back and refresh so that it actually draws people in and doesn't cause them to unsubscribe. That's a lot more powerful than you're great. Although
And
you're great.
just a little disclaimer, I did not pay her to say that, but
No, no,
I got a wonderful testimonial right
you
there.
did. Don't you
Awesome.
like how I slugged that in?
I like that. I like the way you think. That's why you
Smooth,
and I get
smooth.
along so well. Um, but it really is. I mean, you framed it right because I do the same thing with clients when I'm talking about it. You're not getting testimonials, you're getting case studies.
Yeah.
There's a difference in the psychology behind it. And
Right.
I love that you're doing that because so many people miss the boat. It's like, hey, would you do a testimonial? Tell me what you think.
Right.
And that's what they do. Is it's a very boring, hey, you should work with Lori. She's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end of it.
Da,
And
da, da.
yeah, it's like, and then it falls short.
Yeah.
But having that, what was the experience like, changes the entire
Mhm.
attitude of it. And The cool thing about this kind of stuff, like you got them asking the questions, asking their clients those specific questions, which is beautiful. Do you ever have them go back, and if it's like something really good, go back and say, would you be willing to do that as a video? Do you
Yeah,
ever have them?
and it's funny you asked that because I did that. I was doing a video for my company and myself, and I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna play around with this and ask some of my clients to do this for me." So I did. I sent them a list of questions and say, "All right, when I ask you the questions, I want you to repeat it back to me as the form of a sentence,
Mhm.
so it'll be a good sound bite, and
Yep.
then we're gonna put those on, use those in my videos." I found it very uncomfortable to ask my own questions. So I have offered to my clients that if they want me to do that for them, I will go in and ask the questions because it's hard to do that and ask your
Yeah.
own clients your own questions.
Yeah.
So we found that very powerful. And the other cool thing, and I was going to bring this back up when you mentioned case studies, is it is so cool to have a case study where you talk about what the problem was before, what the problem the client had, how you solved it, and then finish it with a testimonial on that case study from that client. It is like, the ultimate, I don't know, T-bone steak or whatever you call it with A1 sauce, because it really puts it all together. And anybody finding your website, when they go in and they look at your case studies and they look at your portfolio, they're going to see all that right there together. So powerful. So if you're not doing that, do it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. You kind of lost me there with the A1 sauce part, but
I
hey.
was trying to think on the cuff. I was thinking something really, really nice.
I'm all like, okay, I need a juicy steak now, but not with A1. No, no.
I know, I know, I know. I don't know. I was just
So
trying to think.
yeah,
Great.
no, it's totally fun. So, and this is so good. This is great stuff because these are the kind of things people don't think enough about.
Right.
They're worried about having the best pictures on their website and having just the exact headline that needs to be on there. And yes, those things are important,
Yeah.
but getting a great testimonial or case study from a
Yep.
client.
Yep.
And by the way, for everybody listening, she just gave you the formula. It ain't that hard.
Right. Right.
And
It's
get
something
on,
we
I
do.
tell
We
people
just
all
don't
the
think
time.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
think about it. And a lot of times people they think that it's too much, especially to ask. A lot of times people are afraid to ask for a testimonial, things like that. I am not that problem. My problem is I forget. It's not because I'm shy about it. And you went through the formula. It's the
Mhm.
same formula that I use. It's like, okay, let's
Mhm.
ask those questions.
Right.
And I'll do that on a Zoom. Like if I have a coaching session with a client and I know, I mean, we had a breakthrough or something, like, can we do kind of a little case study video of that? And they're like, okay, sure. And I'm like, cool. Just follow my lead and we'll do it right on Zoom because we're
Right.
already recording it anyway. And then I just chop it up
Just let
and
me go
use it.
put my lipstick on.
Yeah, it works so well. And things like that are the things that people are missing. They're forgetting. Those are the pieces that make a
Right.
difference. It's not the color. It really isn't. It's so funny when it comes to branding, years and years ago, I used to have this conversation. People like, I mean, I was working with some guys that were consulting a university in Arizona, and I was on the board helping these guys with all the stuff of planning the new course that
Yeah.
they're going to be doing. And these guys are talking about like, they need to have 3 classes on branding. And I'm like, pick a font, pick a color, and stick with it.
Yes.
There's your 3 classes. Because those things, yes, they can they can elevate you, make you look better, but the simple things that we forget, like getting an opt-in, getting them into your world. Now, I mean, you and I've talked about this a lot because
Uh-huh.
this is my area. Is like get them out of the other stuff, get them into our sandbox,
Right.
and like make them want to play sandcastle forever, right? And that's a big piece of that. Having that opt-in, getting them engaged with coming into your world to become
Mhm.
part of your eco culture. That's the first key. So many
Yeah.
people miss that. So many web designers miss that. They're
Yes.
building something that's super pretty but non-functional.
Right.
And
Right.
it's like, no, you've got to have both.
You
And
can
then
have
those
both. You can
cases.
have beauty and brains. Just saying.
Yeah, imagine that. Well,
Yeah.
see, look at you. I mean, you
Yeah.
got that. Uh, so what are some of the things? Let's see. How do I want to phrase this question? When somebody has been with you for a while, how often do you recommend that they do like a refresh? Do you like audit their websites at a certain time frame, like once a year, a couple of years, or how do you do that with that kind of thing?
Yeah, it I work with a lot of individuals. I work with a lot of speakers, coaches, and consultants, like a lot
Mhm.
of us in this world do. And we change. I
Mhm.
have clients that no longer color their hair, for example. That and this is a true story. I have one that we did her website about a year and a half ago, and she just reached out and she said, "I've decided not to color my hair anymore. It's finally growing out. I'm going to have new pictures. Let's look at what I need." So we're not doing a total rebuild. We're just doing a refresh because we're going to
Mm.
fit those pictures into what's already there, which will save her some money and make it easier. But
Yeah.
that's a good that's when you have a good change, or on the flip side of that, you have somebody that's obviously we've gotten a little older maybe and the pictures are a little younger and it's quite obvious.
Mhm.
That's time for, but those are physical things. Also,
Right.
when you look at it from a back end technical thing, when it's taking forever to back up, when it's taking forever for, we work in WordPress. So when it's taking forever for things to adjust and to back up, and we're just constantly, things are just tweaking and breaking, then it's probably time for a technical refresh, and just get things on newer platforms. You can update things for so long before you finally have to come in and rebuild. And one thing I talk to my clients, and I have this happen with a lot of clients who come to me, is that if you've got an old site, a lot of times it's just easier to wipe it clean. It's kind of like going in and working around a historic home. If you're working around the history and the walls that are there and you have to leave everything there, it's going to take a whole lot longer. It's going to be a lot more expensive. Sometimes it's nicer just to start with a clean site and, build a whole new site and make it all new fresh. And it's not as difficult as it used to be, or it shouldn't be.
Mhm. Yeah. 100% agree with that. And I love that. And the picture thing, yeah. I mean, we've all known that realtor that when you see them and you're like, "Why did you use your granddaughter's picture on this?"
Yes, exactly, exactly.
And I
Well,
know.
and the other thing that I forgot to mention too is, when language has changed a lot. A couple of years ago,
Yes.
websites were very much brochure sites. This was all about me, 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 me. This is who I am. This is, look at me, look at me, look at me. And now it's all about the client. If you're
Mhm.
still having a very you-centric website, it's really time to take a look, because it's all about them and the problems that you solve for them. So
I
that's where
love
your
that.
focus should be. Even your about page, even though it's about you, should be about them and how you relate to what they're going through.
I think that is our gold nugget. One of the questions I usually ask is what's the number one step that people should take? That right there is it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about anything else on your website. Go back and rewrite your language focused around the client.
Yes.
Mic drop right there.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So as we're starting to wrap up here. I got two questions I wrap things up with.
Okay.
Okay. Second to the last one's real simple. Well, actually, it depends. Sometimes people think it's a little bit more complicated. But this is the Meet Cool People show. So what does Meet Cool People mean to you?
Oh, I meet a lot of cool people. Um, Cool people can be anybody that's got a story, and we all have a story. So I guess that means by default, everybody's cool in one way, shape, or form. But it's asking the questions and it's listening and finding out who they are and what they do and how they do it. Because it's not just a matter of I build websites for clients. It's a matter of I love what I do because I really get to bring out my marketing knowledge to serve my clients. So, and everybody has that. Everybody has that spark or that special something that makes them who they are and makes them cool.
I love it. Awesome. All right. Last question. People are going to want to get a hold of you. Some of these people are going to need new websites. So how can they do that?
Yeah, the coolest way to get hold of me is go to Lori Lyons, LORILYONS .me. And that's my own personal branded website. It will take you to my website platform. It will take you to everywhere you can contact me and all the social media and all that kind of stuff. But that's really the easiest way to do it on a podcast, because you're probably driving when you're listening to this, and that way it's easy.
Yeah. Keep it simple. Kind of a hub site kind of thing.
Yep.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, we'll make sure we put that in the show notes.
Perfect.
Lori, it is always fun getting to hang out with you. I
Yeah.
enjoy every one of our conversations, and you know, I'm bugging you all the time. Okay, you need to come hang out more often,
I know.
and so we can come hang out, have some more fun. So definitely, thank you for coming and playing today. And with that, get out there, have an amazing week.
Thanks for having me, Eli.
And that wraps up another Meet Cool People show. Now, if you like what you heard, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, or review so I can help introduce these amazing cool people to even more amazing cool people. And just remember, meeting cool people is just the beginning. You need to have a system in place to follow up with the amazing people that you meet. This is exactly what we do for our clients. If you'd like to see if my team and I can help you, go to followuprockstar.com and check out the case study video to see exactly how we're helping our clients turn casual connections into cash clients for life. Again, go to followuprockstar.com and we'll see how we can work together to turn you into a follow-up rockstar.